Welcome everybody to our Nomasis webinar. My name is Nadine and I'm pleased to introduce to you Konstantin from Data Locker, who will be presenting today. Today's webinar is about the trifecta of USB security with Data Locker. The session lasts about 25 to 30 minutes. Please notice that during the webinar, all of you will be muted and it also will be recorded and your camera is switched off. You may post questions during the session through the chat function to the host. The questions will then be answered at the end of the presentation, or you can also, of course, unmute yourself and post a question directly to Konstantin. So now I would like to hand over to Konstantin. Welcome here in our webinar, and you can start your presentation.
Thank you very much, Nadine, and hello, everybody. My name is Konstantin Fröse, and I support Data Locker in terms of the marketing and sales activities, mainly in the DACH region. Thank you, everybody, for taking the time today to watch and listen, and thank you to the Nomasis team for arranging this session. We at Data Locker are USB security specialists, and we learn basically every day that organizations invest loads of time and money to defend threats from the internet, which is, of course, not wrong, but one rather simple working tool is often overseen, and this is the USB mass storage device. And really interesting, as per Honeywell's USB threat report, more than 50% of the discovered malware types in industrial environments were designed for USB devices. I think this is huge, and it shows us how seriously this has to be taken. And for today, I have prepared a presentation for you, which is called the Trifecta of USB Security. And this contains the three main topics. We talk about USB ports, about the USB mass storage devices, and also about the USB device management platform, Safe Console. And I really try to stay on the surface, and because we have this time limitation, there's so much I would like to share with you, but I also would like to encourage you that if you find that interesting, what I'm saying today, please contact your Nomasis account managers. They know a lot, and they know where all the information materials are. And if they need my attention, if you wish also my attention, of course, if you want to go into the details of the USB mass storage devices or wish a webinar of our Safe Console management platform, then I'm, of course, more than glad to make that happen. Having said that, let's go to USB ports. And if we imagine that there's an organization where the USB ports are open as the device was delivered. And this means that every USB device can be used no matter if someone brings it from private into the organization, not with a bad intention, but could happen, or USB sticks are found on the parking place, then we face certain risks. And number one, of course, the malware propagation. And this is basically, as already pointed out from the Honeywell USB threat report, this is huge and really important. Number two, we have the risk of data leakage, where employees might, with or without bad intention, copy data on a USB device and take that out of the office, and if the device gets lost or stolen, this can really cause serious issues. And of course, there can be external attackers, and when they can get access to a system and they bring whatever USB device, it will just work and they can steal the data. So this is something that we definitely want to avoid. And there are different types of DLP solutions in the market. Some are very complex, are complete suites, which have an quite high capacity agent, which takes a lot of system resources. Others are so simple that it's somehow doing the job, but it's rather cumbersome. And I believe that we at Data Locker found a solution right in the middle. We do exactly what we need here. We allow easily blocking all USB ports by default and easy whitelisting of the devices. And over the years, and based on responses we had from customers, we added some tools. And just to give you a brief idea, I like to introduce you to 3 of those, which can be super helpful and make life really easier. Number 1 is the real-time reporting, and that means that you see who uses which USB device. You see if really USB devices are used in your organization, and you also see if a USB device was used which is not considered to be trustworthy. So you could ask the question, that employee, why he was thinking or what he was thinking to use that not trusted device. And we also allow a SIEM interface, so if all these logs should be tracked in an event management system, that is also possible. Then often whitelisting is cumbersome, and we made that as easy as it can be. And we come from the audit logs, and if a device was registered and blocked, it appears in the audit log, and with 2 clicks, you can whitelist the device, and not only on vendor ID and product ID, which all, let's say, better quality devices have, but also based on the serial number, which is, of course, always better. And then we have implemented an activity scheduler, which is a great tool. If you imagine you have an in-house event and the PC in the conference room should allow the use of USB devices, perhaps only in the read-only mode, that people can use the data on the device, but no data can be stolen from the internet. But you could say that should work from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. And so after 1 p.m., the security policies will be restored, and this is locked again. Just to give you an idea what Port Blocker can do without going into too much detail here. I hope. I try. And we have now a little overview of USB mass storage devices. And I believe we can categorize this into different types. There are consumer USB flash drives, hard drives, or SSDs. I also call them supermarket USB drives. These come, of course, without any encryption. And these come in a way that, or saying it differently, customers often tell us, yeah, we know that these have no encryption and that there's a certain risk, but we always delete the data if we use the device, so nothing can happen. And this is, of course, a huge misunderstanding because the data is easily retrievable. There's shareware that any one of us can download from the internet and bring the data back. So that is a serious risk. And we have the situation that business data can be mixed with private content. People use the same USB device to bring private content to the company, perhaps to exchange with colleagues, holiday pictures or MP3s, whatever, and also use the device to transport some data to the other department. And again, if that device, which is used for everything, gets lost, that can cause huge issues. Then we have software encrypted devices, and this is, of course, better than no encryption. But we need to be aware of the fact that a user or a virus can remove the encrypted container. And the device can still be used, sensitive data can still be copied to the device, and the device will be still allowed for a use because the DLP software, let's say our port blocker, allows the use of the VID, PID, or of the serial number, but the protection is gone. So we believe we are in compliance, but we are not anymore. Then software encryption is open for brute force attacks, where permanently passwords are tested out until the right one is found. And we have a limited cross-platform compatibility, which is especially a thing if we imagine IT and OT networks, the air-gapped OT network. It would work in the Windows network, but on proprietary systems, not a chance. There are other options for situations like this that we see in a few minutes. And there are, of course, hardware encrypted devices, and this is Data Locker's expertise, and this is what we always recommend. And there are good reasons for that. Number one, encryption password protection is always on. It is not the decision of the user and not even the decision of the admin anymore. Encryption is always active, and you always need a password to get access to the data. Then the encryption chipset stays, the encryption key stays always in the encryption chipset. It will never leave the chipset of the device. And this is a very important differentiator when we compare this to software encrypted devices. Because with software encryption, the encryption key is loaded in the memory where it is processed by the host CPU, and it can be rather simple compromised from there. Here with hardware encryption, not a chance. Also, we use digitally signed firmware, which means that the firmware cannot be manipulated. So malicious code is not possible. And I believe we have all heard of a threat which is called bad USB, when a USB stick does basically anything but what a normal USB stick should do. This is not possible because the code cannot be manipulated. And we have a protection against brute force attacks, depending on the type of device and is it managed or unmanaged. It is a fixed number or a flexible to configure number after number of wrong password attempts, after which the data and the IS key will be deleted. Yeah. And we at Data Locker offer a whole range of hardware encrypted USB devices depending on the required form factor, capacity, management capabilities, certifications. And I would like to go through a few briefly with you. And I like to start with the Sentry One, which is our standard USB stick, which is available from 8 GB to 128 GB. It is FIPS 140-2 Level 3 certified, which is a quite high certification, which does not only address the security of the algorithm, but also the protection against physical manipulation. This is a device which authenticates with the client from that digitally signed partition we already spoke about. And this means it works wonderfully with Mac, Windows, and Linux, but would not be a solution for proprietary operating systems. And also here we have two devices or two different types of Sentry One. One is the standard, which can be used also without management. And this works with Windows, Mac, and Linux. And this can be changed into a managed device. And we have also that obligatory managed device, which works with Windows and Mac. And this is obligatory managed because when organizations say we have standardized a certain secure USB device, then we want to make sure that it can be only used if our security policies are strictly followed through. And this is one of the main features of Safe Console, our USB device management platform, which we will see a little later. Then our latest addition is the Sentry 5, is also a USB stick from 8 gig to 512 gig. This is obligatory managed. Yeah, this can only be used with Safe Console for compliance reasons. And this has the latest in security certification that there is. This is FIPS 140-3 Level 3. This is the new generation of FIPS certification, and we are still pending, but we are on the relevant lists at the NIST. And if that is important for you and you need the proof, then we can provide that. And if anyone out there, by the way, tells you that they are already close to getting that certification, please always ask for the proof, because we have seen many people talking about that, and it is not always entirely true. Yeah. Then we have the Sentry K350, and this is our keypad device, which is completely operating system independent. And this is because we do the authentication on the device itself. It comes from 16 gigabyte to 512 gigabyte. And it is also FIPS 140-2 Level 3 certified, but we already applied for FIPS 140-3 Level 3. So like Sentry 5, here it will really take a little longer, but we will definitely get there. There are also comparable devices in the market which also have an alphanumeric keypad included. And this is an important point, because all these other devices, I can really say that, have an alphanumeric keypad which works like an American telephone. So you know probably the TV commercials when you see call 0800-insurance or something like this. Then the letters are to remember the number, in this case a telephone number. In this case, the letters are used to remember a PIN code, because all the other devices support only numeric PIN codes. We support real alphanumeric passwords with special characters. And this can be very important because many organizations say that their standard security policy is that they have to use alphanumeric passwords with special characters. And then it really would have to be that device if you're looking for that form factor and for the features of this kind of device. Also, we have implemented an OLED display, which makes the setup and also the use super simple. Basically, you don't even need a manual. We have, of course, a manual. That is fine for the ones who want to read, but you can easily scroll through the menu in the OLED display. And that is an important point for Data Locker. We want to make devices, we want to develop devices that can not only be used by security specialists, it should work for anybody. And we believe it's important for every security strategy that the products can easily be used, because if they can't, who should use it at the end of the day? Yeah? Competition products often work here with blinking LEDs, and that is sometimes then blue is blinking twice, and then you have to enter something, and then green is blinking, and then you enter again something. So it's some kind of a Morse code. It works as well for these Chinese devices. Oh, because also important, many of these devices have a Chinese origin. Some even use a Chinese encryption chipset. And we believe that this is an important parameter to look at as well. We are TAA compliant, which means all of our components, all of our software programmings, every step of the production process is being done in trustworthy countries. And one of those is definitely not China, we have to say. That is important. K350 can optionally be managed with Safe Console as well. And from there, we go to the big brother, DL4FE, and I call it big brother because it uses the same encryption technology. And so many features are the same. Interesting with the DL4FE is that this is from the form, looking at the form factor, a little bit bigger because it uses 2.5-inch SATA drives. And it starts from 500 gig hard drive capacities and goes up to 15.3 terabyte SSD capacities. This is a USB-C device. We have a USB-C interface on the device itself, but two cables are in the box, one for USB-C systems, one for USB-A systems. The authentication and the setup and the use is completely done on the integrated color touchscreen, which also supports alphanumeric passwords with special characters. Yeah, and of course, we are operating system independent, and optionally, the device can be managed with Safe Console. Yeah. Now, I have said plenty of times management and plenty of times the name Safe Console, and I would also like to give you a brief overview what that is. This is our USB device management platform, which is available as a cloud service or as an on-prem installation. And the Safe Console is the command center, if you will. And you can use different types of licenses, or we could also say different modules, depending on what you want to achieve. And we started the presentation with Port Blocker, which we find on the bottom left here, where we protected the USB ports and whitelisted trustworthy devices. On the bottom left side, we have device control, and this is our real USB device management. And this allows us to configure security policies which are enforced. This allows us to do remote password resets for users who forgot their password, no matter where they are in the world. If devices are lost or stolen, or if an employee left the organization and we want to make sure that this person has no access anymore to a device, we can delete or even, destroy a device remotely. And all of these activities can be recorded in compliance reports, which can be an important proof if you have, for example, deleted or detonated, as we call it, if you really destroy a device with sensitive data. Yeah. On the right top side, we see our anti-malware module, and this is based on the McAfee anti-malware scanner. And this is integrated in the firmware of the device, which means it cannot be removed intentionally or unintentionally. It will always update automatically, and it will report potential incidents also to Safe Console. And on the bottom right, we see SafeCrypt, which is a totally different approach. And with SafeCrypt, we define a folder on a local drive or on a USB drive or on a network share. And all data that is copied into that folder will be encrypted with 256-bit IAS. Optionally, you can synchronize this data with a cloud storage service and access the data from a second system, which might be smart for home office scenarios to exchange encrypted data via the cloud. And it is also obligatory managed. From a Safe Console perspective, it basically looks the same as a USB device. So you can set security policies, you can do password resets, you can delete the data if you think it has been compromised, and all of that can be recorded in compliance reports. And this I wanted to give you as a surface overview also of Safe Console. And you see here the list of the main features of Safe Console. There's so much in this solution that is worthwhile looking at. And again, I would like to encourage you that if you found that interesting, please talk to your Nomasis account managers. And if you need my assistance, then I'm, of course, always glad to go into more detail with you. And yeah, I would say this is basically what I wanted to share with you today. And I think we have still some time if there would be questions. Nadine, is that right?
Yes, thank you very much, Konstantin, for giving us an overview on this topic. If you now have questions, you can simply unmute yourself or just post them in the chat. And I wish you all a very nice evening and thank you all for joining.